I must create my own system or be enslaved by the systems of others. Those are the certainties. I call it an anarchy of the mind. An attitudinal freedom. No master above, though, no slave below. Freedom is the gift you give yourself, another act of the self for the self. Because there is no such thing as collective freedom in anything as much as there's no such thing as collective love, or collective harmony, or collective utopia. There's only your freedom, your way of seeing, that even makes the most dire consequences into something immense, something personal to you that others did not see in it. Now this imperial self, as I said, is defensive. It does not interact with others or have relationships. The self has a relationship only with the self, otherwise it immediately ceases to be a self. It's like your shadow in a way. It goes where you go. And most people don't think it's possible to have a relationship with oneself. It's still a kind of a new concept in this healing mode that we're going through. It even sounds preposterous to most ears. A genuine selfishness, that is, a genuine concern with discovering what is to one's self-interest, an acceptance of the responsibility of achieving it, a refusal ever to betray it by acting on blind whim, mood, impulse, or feeling of the moment, an uncompromising loyalty to one's judgment, convictions, and values represents a profound moral achievement. As I said, this opens the door. This opens the door to the way forward. William Barrett, ruminating more on the work of Heidegger, says, this seriousness is the simple and forthright seriousness of someone who has at last arrived at a center, and who is therefore at last totally engaged in the project of his life, with all that it entails. This person exists under the eye of eternity, and therefore what he does in the moment is absolutely real. That is authenticity. And it's the transcendence, the lightness that we're talking about. You don't do it, you are. We're back to the Nietzsche being, Rollo May's analysis of Nietzsche. Being is a category which cannot be reduced to interjection of social and ethical norms. It is, to use Nietzsche's phrase, beyond good and evil. To the extent that my sense of existence is authentic, it is precisely not what others have told me I should be. See, it's the spirit of rebellion, even attitudinal, even if you can't apply it physically. It is not what others have told me I should be, but is the one Archimedes point that I have to stand on from which to judge what parents and other authorities demand. They can demand it, but you don't have to fulfill it. But that morally superior, centered being, who's imbued with the aestheticism, has no easy job, obviously. And he must defend himself constantly from the barrage, must free himself from others, and then even free them from himself. Remember the dependency? I'm going to be vigilant. I express my true love and not allowing you to lose your center. I will not allow you to lose your center in my life. If I do so, I am violating sovereignty, my own and yours. Zero tolerance for the lie. Aleister Crowley puts it in the strongest words possible. Because the question arises, is such a man moral in the normal way? Is he virtuous? Crowley says absolutely. Because he sees then that we can never affect anything outside ourselves, save only it is also within us. Whatever I do to another, I do to myself. If I kill a man, I destroy my own life at the same time. Every vibration awakens all others of its own particular pitch. To harm another is to harm oneself, said Socrates. So yes, there is a morality involved. The man is fighting, but he is a moral entity. But this man and his élan vital, his centrality, his moral superiority is the greatest threat to the controllers. Remember, at the very beginning we pointed out what is their greatest threat and how they manipulate the legitimate anxiety is their threat. Now we have another threat. The very existence of this man, his very physical existence, is a deep, deep threat. And so a great deal of the mechanisms and the orcs that they unleash is to stop this very process from taking place. Education, medical, television, media, the lot. They wish to obliterate that person. Or, another way they do it is to make it so stressful to be that kind of person that you go banging at the gates of the global village, let me in, I can't take it out here. Alan Watts says the most strongly enforced of all known taboos is the taboo against knowing who or what you are really behind the mask of your apparently separate, independent, and isolated ego. And Nietzsche says the individual has always had the struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will often be lonely and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself.